My dear viewers, beginning today is the official Alliteration Gaming Patreon and channel members. Throughout my Patreon, we've got quite a few tiers you can check out in order to gain special perks and even commission videos that you'd like to see me upload onto the channel. Every tier includes a shout out on my supporter card at the beginning of all of my videos, along with the benefits of the tier itself. Following that, you can now also join the Alliteration Nation by becoming a channel member on the YouTube side of things. Pledging your subscription here as a member of the channel is going to grant you the same shout out on my supporter card as all the Patreon tiers do, as well as access to the members only channel on my Discord. You'll gain a member badge that will level up as you stay subscribed and access to my exclusive emotes when I stream on YouTube. If you're interested in checking out the Patreon, I'm going to have the link in the description and in the pinned comment down below, as well as the link to my Discord should you want to join that as well. And if you want to become a channel member, the big beautiful join button is front and center on my homepage right here. And if you do decide to support the channel in any way whatsoever, know that I am unimaginably grateful, and I can't wait to provide you with even more top-notch content at my trademark top speed. Now, let's get on to the video. Welcome my friends to another Alliteration Gaming video. My name's Levi, and today I've got our good patron, Brandon Barry with the Universus Lab over here to go over a super sick Momo deck, this time on the good symbol. Brandon, how are you, my friend?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Man, dude, I can't complain. I've had a very, very productive day so far, and it's just about to get a lot cooler as we talk about this deck. So, Momo is a pretty tried and true character. Definitely not someone that people are unfamiliar with by any means. She's seen a lot of success, mostly across the life symbol, but also quite a bit on the good symbol. So this is going to be less of a hey, give me the rundown of what this deck is about, but more so what brought you to play her on good, and then specifically what are you looking to improve on this deck here?
I started playing this deck on good for the fact that I could use the preparing for battle, the precious lesson, paired with the foundation that the self-sacrifice to be able to build in and replace things. Like, I've seen a lot of the list playing only like 3 or 2 copies of a precious lesson. And that card is really good with, like, what I remember playing it in its standard. It was paired with the character. It's really, really cool. And because she destroys a foundation, and then you just replace the destroyed foundation with the precious lesson to get a face down. So I was thinking, you know, I played a couple copies of Bonds of Friendship for the fact that I still needed the block on it. But at that point, I was only playing it for the block mod and not because it was a 1/6. So I ended up cutting a few of those because I had 3 in the main and 1 in the side deck, and then I just cut it down to 2 to fit other cards in. Like, it can't be fixed as anti-stun hate. And I had a copy of Recovery Girl's Kiss in play, and it allowed me to stay alive when I would have been dead. And was able to win. I was able to steal a game. I think it was from a Giro on air, and that was super clutch because the fact that I would have been taking a lethal amount of damage, and instead I just flipped and gained 2. And you know, it's really good with half blocks and stuff too, which we also gain health off of the Rising Starlet. And I just thought it was, you know, it was a really good. Cool deck in standard, and it was a really cool deck to migrate over, but it's lacking a lot of speed hate. Sometimes when you know you're dead, like, you just know you're dead. And
so if we're looking to improve speed hit, I've definitely got some ideas there. So I guess if that's kind of what the main focus is, let's actually start with the foundations. So another thing that I've truly noticed is that you're pretty lacking when it comes to low blocks. We've only got 13 of them in this 70 card deck. But thankfully, there's quite a few things that we can improve upon simultaneously when it comes to speed hate and low blocks. So the first thing I want to point out is we've only got 2 Specialists of Sound in here. I think if we're looking for speed hate and we're looking for low blocks, this is like the first one to start at, don't you think?
For sure.
Yeah, so I think I would honestly like to see this just bumped all the way up to 4. I think this card's fantastic.
Right. And I wanted to still have some in there, but having 2 of each, I still had that foundation in there, but I didn't have a way to ready it. So if I committed it, like, that's just gone. But if I flipped it or destroyed it, it was just gone. So, like, having multiple copies of that in play if I have to destroy one was key to being able to still have a defensive. I felt that like, I had a couple copies of Friends of Animals out, which it didn't really change the game that much. But whenever there was like one game, if I had the command pigeon flock, I was able to build it. But then I just committed it, used its effect, and blew it up anyways. So I had to blow that up instead of blowing up my specialist of sound. And
yeah, I think the command pigeon flock and the Friend of Animals engine is actually, I think, one of like the best things about playing Momo on good right now. I mean, granted, you can do those things on live too, but I feel like you can really double down on it, right, in this build.
Yeah.
So I really like that engine being in there. I don't think I want that to go anywhere. And the steady group leader just gets so much better because you can build it with the command pigeon flock, right? So I really like all of that stuff going on with set 3 Momo. So I would kind of like to look at maybe some other foundations we could be cutting to improve our speed hate territory. Are there any that you feel are kind of lacking in your foundation department?
Oh, I needed the high block that was a +1 high for the Bonds of Friendship, but if there is a better foundation that doesn't have to be a 6, that's still a high block, then that would be a card that would be easy to cut. Because I just threw in like I looked at block mods and I was like, oh, that's a +1 high, I guess we'll block with that, But I think that a lot of the 2-ofs, like the 6 check, should probably just be another foundation that's like a 4-of, or maybe more copies of other foundations.
Yeah, I agree. So like, it sounds like you're not super married to the Bonds of Friendship. I think we could just slice those up and make 4 Specialist of Sounds.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Now, our next order of business when it comes to this is a high value target. High value target is effectively speed hate in a sense, right? Because you can commit it as 2 foundations. It's effectively a -1 speed trait, and it's also a low block. I would like to fit some of these into the deck. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that card is really good whenever you're blocking, and it also protects your foundations that are key that you need.
Yeah, it does keep our nice stuff on the board. So ideally, I would like to take out either a high or a low for this, since we're trying to even up our block zones a bit. Specifically mids, we've got quite a lot of mids in this deck. So maybe something like the Recovery Girl's Kiss, the Destined for Mainstream Success, maybe those could get cut down a little bit. I definitely don't want to cut Small and Limber. I think Small and Limber is like one of the reasons to play Momo on good. That card is just insane in her.
Yeah. Do you think 4 copies is good enough, or 3 copies is good enough, or should that be 4?
I'd like to make it 4. I definitely would not mind making it 4. We've just got to figure out what else we can cut. I think the Destins and the Recovery Girl's Kiss are both very cuttable, but if you're married to those, they can definitely stay in the deck.
They were too situational of a card.
Okay.
Because of the ability of the game too that's on it. I mean, if we were full into gaining the health package, then we would be playing a whole set of, the foundation. When you build it, you gain 1.
Yeah, and I really just don't think that that's of the most valuable use of our card slots, to be honest. I think there are other cards that could be pulling in a lot of work for us.
Yeah, we could cut that. We
could chop up these 2 Recovery Girl's Kiss and these 2 Destins, throw in 3 high value targets, and put in that Small and Limber of 4. I feel pretty good about that. So already we've got a ton more speed hate in the deck now. Our low blocks are all the way up to 18, which I feel great about. We're capitalizing on our really good stuff like small and limber in the deck. Are there any other foundations you feel like aren't pulling in the weight? Because I've got a couple other low blocks we could also consider. I do think that One with Nature and Hero's Inspiration are pretty solid cards in our deck.
Yeah, I like One with Nature. I think it's a really good card. Like, even before, there was a card that you could put in your card pool, and then it gave your opponents checks to block and to play their cards. It made it more difficult. Mm-hmm. So with blocking with that plus One with Nature, it was super, super awesome. I think One with Nature should be in the deck, but I found myself wanting to cut the new training methods.
Okay, interesting.
And that gives me the option to either play 2 One with Natures, or at least, I don't think I would play 3. I think 2's fine with One with Nature. Mm-hmm. But it could be a 3 of.
I think Study Group Leader at 4 might be a little excessive. I think that could be like a 3 of, since like we don't have like Rescue completed in this deck, right, to get like full use out of it. It's more so just a really solid ally foundation to build from the pigeon flock. So like maybe we could do like 3 Study Group Leaders and like 2 new training methods, and then toss in a couple One with Natures and see how you like it from there.
Nice.
So I'm pretty into that. So this kind of evens out our block zones quite a bit. So I'll go ahead and move the rest of these. And then I know you've already got a sideboard for this deck, so all of the 2-ofs in here are actually cards that you've already got in your sideboard. So that has cleaned up our foundations quite a lot. We've still got a pretty hefty amount of spam in the deck as opposed to our non-spams. Our block zones are actually beautiful now, 21 highs, 20 lows, and 29 mids. Let's talk about some attacks. Do you feel like any of the attacks in your package right now are lacking?
Command Pigeon Flock is good. Mm-hmm. Cannon Blast is good. Mm-hmm. Back Alley Haymaker is super busted.
Oh, yeah.
The Invisible Infiltration has been insane.
Yeah, card's amazing. Card is so powerful.
If I wasn't Momo, the Create Bow Staff would not be so relevant, but since I'm Momo, I can kind of take advantage of the fact. I really think this card is just, if you're not Momo, you're not really on like the game plan for Create Bow Staff. But I found myself playing Create Bow Staff in a Staff Strike deck. With this not having Staff Strike, we can't really benefit from playing Create Bow Staff to the effectiveness of its full potential, I don't think.
Yeah, being able to like tutor in stuff like training weights is not bad, but I feel like there's probably better things we could be doing. Just as far as like getting like a nice +1 out of our cards, right? It just depends, like, how married you are to that whole style, right? I mean, we do have, of course, all of our really good weapon foundations to pick up too. We got the Preparing for Battles and our Rising Starlets and all. It's not bad by any means, but I do have a couple other things that we could consider. So as far as like things that just go simple +1, I've got Future Charge as an option. Just raw card draw is never really bad. Bow Staff is like a little bit more selective card draw, and it is a low block as opposed to a high block, so there's not a ton of difference in it. Truth be told, though, I really don't mind the Bow Staff very much. How do you feel about Hardened Jab?
I think this card is the most busted card in the game for the fact that it's a 4-diff, and it literally replaces itself with a foundation if you check a 3. And you sometimes picking up another Hardened Jab.
Yeah. Or you're resetting things like your Precious Lessons, your Manly Passionates, your Rising Star. There's just so many good flip targets, man, that you can just reset.
Yeah, it like being able to pick up, now that we added the One with Nature, being able to pick up the Friends of Animals and then play a Hardened Jab after playing, another Friends. It allows us to pick it up and discard it to One with Nature to build it in off of a Command Pigeon Flock as our third attack.
This is very true. Yeah, I mean, Jab is definitely good. The only thing that I really don't like so far about our attack lineup is that we don't have a weapon of every zone to pick up, right? If we need a mid block, we can pick up Cannon Blast. If we need a low block, we can pick up Bow Staff, but we don't have a high block weapon, which is where I've kind of brought in Create Capturing Net to talk about.
I've seen that. I think that's really cool because of the fact that it straight up just gives you a foundation off the gate.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, Momo's card does Momo things, right? We're going to be able to tutor in stuff and then immediately be able to build it down, utilize it. Obviously, things like Quick Create is fantastic with. I think Capturing Net is just super duper good. But, I don't know, do you think it's better than Hardened Jab?
Hardened Jab is one of those attacks that just deals that 5 damage.
It's true.
Now, with the Capture Net being a low, sometimes your opponent just won't have a low block.
Yeah, you can certainly catch them off guard with it. It's more so the fact that I'm not sure that anything else is like super cuttable, right? Cannon Blast is how we kill people. Back Alley is just busted. Invisible Infiltration is like our whole thing. I mean, Command Pigeon Flock, I don't really want it to go anywhere. I really like it as an engine. Maybe it's just a better version of Capture Net as far as getting our things in instantly. But I just like Capture Net for the utilization of that high block pickup,
Yeah, couldn't we pick it up instead of having Hardened Jab in this list for the fact that we're Momo, now we can block with it?
Yeah, we certainly could. We certainly could. Hardened Jab is great, but it is not a weapon, so it doesn't have as much synergy with the rest of our deck and our character as we could. So I'm super down to try out Capturing Net over it.
Yeah, and I like how that goes with the Create Bow Staff, but I mean, at the same time, I feel like a lot of games that I play, the Create Bow Staff isn't as strong as normally what it would have been if I was playing a Staff Strike list.
I have to agree. We definitely don't utilize it as well as the really dedicated builds to. Maybe it could find its way down to like a 2 of or something in case there's anything else you want to put in. I've got a couple other things here. Copy Harden is a pretty nice alternative to Jab as a bit of a higher damage move, still resets your things a little bit, and has Breaker 1 on a high block, which is pretty nice considering we have an on-demand Breaker 1 mid block, we have an on-demand Breaker 1 low block. Would be pretty cool to have a high block as well. And then I've also got Airstream Driver in case maybe you find you have trouble killing people. This is just a really good big damage attack.
That's what I felt like, because a lot of times I would have like a Create Bow Staff and another Create Bow Staff, but if I had a way to kill my opponent,
right,
I think Airstream Driver would just be the card to play, because if they blocked, the Create Capture Net, you're online for 3/3.
Yeah, and I mean, if we do need that low block in the worst case scenario, right, we can still pick up Preparing for Battle,
Yeah, for sure.
So let's say, what if we cut these 3 bow staffs? What if we threw in 2 Airstream Drivers, help us kill people a little better? And then how do you feel about a spicy 1 of Copy Harden?
I like Copy Harden just because it's got the Breaker 1 on it.
Breaker 1
and it's
is
a +2 high block. Yeah, that is just insane.
Yeah, and it gets a little bit bigger than Jab. It's a little faster. It's a high as opposed to a mid. It's not as much of a raw +1, but we do still get to reset our stuff, right? Which is kind of the main goal of the card.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think the Future Charge is a nice idea, but I think we have enough moves that refill our hand. We're able to do passing the torch resets with Invisible Infiltration. Back Alley is going to draw us a card. Pigeon Flock is going to build a new thing. Capture Net's going to build stuff down right away. So I think we're in a pretty good place as far as recuperating our advantage engines go, right?
For sure.
Yeah,
I can't wait to play this list. I've been playing villain decks like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Momo is fantastic, right? All this new stuff is very cool, but it's tough to go wrong with the tried and true Momo. I really like your spicy symbol of peace in here. This is pretty sweet.
Yeah, I picked up these. I had only 2 because I didn't have enough points to get 4. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I would have had access to more cards, but what I had was what I had access to, and I added this card at the last minute um, for the MHA event that I played, and it's got a +2 block on it. But when you block with it, I felt like I was blocking with the Phil Birch team asset card. So like when you have it in the card pool, you can just add that on the fly with the quick creation.
Yeah, that's super cool. And now that we have
crazy.
One with Nature in here, we can actually on demand discard it. Like, how cool is that,
wow.
right? I'll One with Nature my move, I'll put this in, and then I'll quick create, bring it right back in here, and now I got into the card pool without even having to actually play it, right? Because, like, I mean, if there's not a lot of attacks in the pool, you're not going to get a ton of value off that enhance, but the fact that we can, like, quick create directly it in is super duper cool. Like, I'm going to One with Nature you and then put this in. Your block modifier is +3 now. Eat my big Airstream driver coming at you.
Nice.
Seems pretty darn cool. Yeah, I feel like we've added some really cool new tricks into this.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of key things that you can do in Momo. That's why I think it's never a deck that I felt. Every game goes different, and every game is fun because I'm not doing the same thing every game.
Yeah, like your gameplay loop is the same, but how you achieve it can be different every time because, I mean, Momo just lets you pick up whatever you need.
Yeah, I have not gotten bored playing Momo ever.
It's pretty hard to. Yeah, I mean, as long as you enjoy her general style, right? It's tough to have any two of the same games.
For sure.
Yeah, well, I hope that all of these new options that we put in here can continue to spice things up. Is there anything else that you feel like we haven't gone over or is lacking in the deck? I think I really like where it is now.
No, that's the only issues that I had with it. I think we've taken care of.
Yeah, I think between a lot of these new attacks and the One with Nature, we're just gonna kill people. And we're going to survive even harder with Specialist and High Value at such high copies in our deck.
Right, so now when I get paired into Comley Woods, I just crush them.
Dude, Comley Woods is so sick, but yeah, I do think we just crush him now.
Right.
All right, well, man, thank you so much for bringing this deck on, Brandon, and helping me help you refine it. I think, you know, even though Momo is a character that's seen so much experience and so much play, this game, right, the beautiful part of this game is that there's always just so much to innovate on and tweak on, especially based on personal preference. You know, I know you said you were like, hey, I just want to play the heck out of Invisible Infiltration because this card is so sick. Good Momo is a fantastic place to do it. And I hope that we've made some improvements that are going to add a lot to your play experience from here on out.
For sure.
That is going to wrap up this Build a Deck. If this inspired you in any way or gave you some very cool ideas, or if you just enjoyed the video, I would love some feedback down in the comments section and via the like and dislike button. And while you're down there, the join button, if you want to smash that, is also going to support my work even further and grant you access to some really cool perks for when I stream on YouTube. And if you want to go the extra mile and obtain an experience just like this, you can check out the Build a Deck tier on my Patreon to get your very own commission just like this, or you can check out some of the other tiers to commission other things from me. There's a ton of really cool options, and I would super love if you checked them out and help me support myself with my work even further. Above all else though, thanks so much just for making it to the end of this video. I appreciate you watching, and I hope I can see you in the next one.